There are two programs for KNOWNpreneur, two modules that deal with expanding your market, I would say. And one of them is it's this one here. The other one would be New England Supplier Council that Peter Hurst that's going to be talking on May 3rd. These two modules is where we basically challenge you to think beyond your business boundaries today and think about what your business could become tomorrow. And we like to push those limits because it's just that stretching is what makes you, envision what you could be tomorrow. So with that, I'll leave you with Frank. Thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you, Juan and Don, again for having me here to speak to your KNOWNpreneurs. And I'll just give you a little background of who I am. Thank you guys for sharing, your current business model and services. Just to let you know, there's literally construction going on next to me, and you might hear that in the background. So if I mute and pause for a little bit, it's because they're getting a bit loud, and I don't really want anything to get lost as we're going through this. Before I get into what I do now, I'll just give you a little background as to who I am and my growth, career growth, and knowledge growth in life, to hopefully be able to come and share those things with you, and talk a little bit more about the bigger picture when you're looking to expand your services and products. I have a degree in business, grad degree in engineering and organizational management. My background, U.S. military, U.S. Army, engineering, aerospace, electronics. I've managed in automotive industry, aerospace industry, everywhere from 2 employees to 150 bargaining unit employees. And I've done a lot of negotiations internationally and domestic, negotiating contracts in the Middle East, Europe, and with the US government for defense contractors. I've also owned a business where it provided strategic planning, business development, consulting services. I grew up in a business environment. Both of my parents were business owners. My father owned a general contracting company, a barbershop that he never really went into. I think they just did it to hang out, him and his boys, but that was fine. And my mother owned 3 beauty shops. So I grew up in a world where my sisters and I, where we seen that
It's okay, Frank. We can deal with the banging.
Okay, all right. It's annoying me, so I know it's annoying you. So I grew up in a world where, I seen the beginning aspects of growing and starting a business and the intricacies of that. And so many people don't have that advantage. You go to college and you learn business, but you really don't learn how to run a business and own a business, right? You just learn some of the academic aspects of business. So, where we are now and where I am now, coming out of not only being a part of the for-profit side, I've also had experiences in starting a nonprofit, growing a nonprofit, winning grants for nonprofits, sitting on boards, getting involved in politics, local, state, federal. So I just tried to, it's important that you understand every single thing that can affect your business, that can grow your business. So many people become tunnel vision with just what they're doing and not understanding everything that can affect it. What we're going to talk about today is how to expand those things into the public sector world and the government. And that's sort of where I am now. Outside of that, I'm also adjunct over at Gateway Community College, where I teach management, leadership, process improvement, supply chain logistics, and things of that nature. So what I do now and Don, if you want to bring up the slideshow, I am the state director for the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And I'm funded by the federal government to provide marketing and contract administration assistance to for-profit entities, right? I have 6 offices around the state where I have staff, and we manage around 800 businesses in the state of Connecticut to help them understand everything from local government contracting, state government contracting, and federal government contracting. You know, what set aside registrations are you eligible for, and you know what's out there for you, and is the public sector buying what you're buying? We're going to talk about all those things, and the processes of registering, and is it right for you? Are you ready to get into that space? And a lot of people, after they're in business for a while, just doing commercial, they see what's out there in the public sector side. Our services are free. What I do in the state of Connecticut, there's one in every state: Guam, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. So it's been around for about 45 years, and we provide that services to businesses. We're going to get in a little bit more what those services are. If we go to the next slide. So these are some of the things that we work with our clients on. We provide you one-on-one counseling. You don't expire in our database as long as you complete a couple of things that we ask you to do. We help you understand all state, federal registrations and municipality registrations. Any socioeconomic certifications, right? What's a socioeconomic certification? Are you qualified to get certain certifications based on your ethnicity, your gender, your disability, things of that nature? We talk about bid matching preparation. We help you read through the contracts, understand the contracts, how to submit the contracts. If you award the contract, then we help you make sure that you you understand how to move forward in the contracting space and not get in trouble with the government. Help you understand how to market. We're going to talk about capability statements a little bit after this, and how to put one of those together, and how to put those elevator pitches together. And subcontracting opportunities. Sometimes smaller businesses are better suited for subcontracting from some of your larger companies because of the nature of them already being in that space and the obligations that they have to subcontract based on federal dollars and things of that nature. So we can go to the next one. Just our website, to apply for our services. Now, I will be very honest. My typical audience are not startups. We focus on for-profit businesses who have a proven track record of selling their services and products. But we will refer you to other agencies that do work with a lot of your startup businesses, or businesses that don't have real hard past performance history, like your SCORE, your SBDC, and things of that nature. I do a lot of these speaking engagements in front of Chamber of Commerce's, aerospace manufacturing associations. I do a lot of joint conversations and talks with Small Business Administration. So I'm extremely embedded with all of the government agencies when it comes to helping businesses understand how to do business and get certified in the federal space and state space. Next. Just our social media footprint. Next. So our clients last year won about $300 million in federal, state, local, and subcontract awards. When I tell our story, that equates into about 6,000 opportunity jobs gained or retained, and somewhere around $17 million in tax revenue for the state of Connecticut. So our services, our education and training that we provide our business are helping them win these public sector awards and contracts. Next. And we're going to talk about the various aspects of the benefits of contracting, marketing, subcontracting, some of the security measures that your company is going to need to have, especially when you're doing business in the federal space. And that's very important to some of our bigger clients. Next. So what are some of the benefits in government contracting? It's huge. We help our clients understand who's selling, who's buying their products. The federal and state and local governments buy everything, literally. Everything from project management services to mental health services, because I know myself, I'm a veteran. You know, sometimes they outsource our mental health and some follow-up social needs to independent contractors, right? Or they buy everything from napkins to ice cream to anything you can name. The government buys it. So what we do is we help our clients understand who's buying what they're selling and how to strategically get your information in front of them and go after the awards. And not only which agencies, but which bigger contractors are winning these contracts, how you get yourself in front of those guys, state, federal, and local level. Next. Just look at the money that's going into our government agencies. This is just the federal space. Now, what's happening is that there are millions and millions of dollars that are coming down in infrastructure packages that are coming into the states, municipalities, and boards of education. And out of that, they have to spend that money. So a lot of times you say, well, I'm going to do work with the municipality or the state government. I don't need to be registered in the federal database. That's not true, because those are federal monies. And the federal government wants you registered in their databases, which they're all free, and we assist with that, to be able to take advantage of doing business with some of these entities, with the municipalities, boards of ed, and state governments. And I want to reiterate something. The huge amounts of money that's coming down are going to be going to the states, municipalities, and boards of education. And there are opportunities out there for everybody to be able to provide their services, especially into the school systems. I know some of you mentioned that you get off into mental health and some of the emotional wellness type arenas, and they're looking at the teachers and students participating in some of those things. They're going to need people to be able to provide those services. So you want to make sure that you're best positioned to be able to take advantage of that. Next. You got to ask yourself a couple of questions, right? You got to be able to spend the time, have some financial stability. And are you willing to understand how to work in this space? Put a little effort into it. A lot of people get confused as to why they're in business. Now, a lot of times, and I know you've probably heard this before, if you're in business to chase a passion, that's fine. But the definition of business is to make a profit, right? It's to make a profit in what you're doing. And to be able to do it and enjoy it, that's just an added bonus. So we want to make sure that you understand that when you want to get into that public sector space, it's not really a part-time kind of a thing. You got to understand the work and the dedication to be able to go do that. Next. So we work with you on understanding some of the subcontracting and set aside opportunities. Next. And we're going to talk about, what's a government-friendly capability statement or capability statement and what it's used for. We have our clients, we have templates for our clients, and we teach them how to market themselves using a capability statement. Not going to talk a lot about this now because we have a whole separate section on capability statement that we're going to talk about and how to create it, how to use it and its purposes. but we help our clients understand how to use this effectively. Getting started in your federal space, the first thing you have to do is you have to register your business in the System for Awards Management. It's a free database. You cannot do anything with the federal government unless you're registered in sam.gov. Even if you're a nonprofit, you run after grants, you need a cage code in sam.gov. It's that's the place you gotta go. And what do you wanna need to register in this database? Your DUNS number, your Dun & Bradstreet's number, for now. They're phasing it out, but you still need that now. You're gonna need your bank account and routing number. You're gonna need to understand your tax ID number. You're gonna need to know your industry codes. And at PTAC, we help you understand, where to find those and what best fit you. There's another open database out there the way our small business clients are located. It's called the Small Business Administration Dynamic Small Business Search. If you're registered in sam.gov and you're classified as a small business, this is the central database that prime contractors and government contractors go to find you, because your capabilities, your registration status is located in there. It's the #1 site.
Can you talk about, just to make sure everybody understands, the prime contractor and what that is, just so that we level that?
So a prime contractor is the business who has the direct contract with the agency or the government, right? If Frank Dixon Enterprises won a contract with the Veterans Administration, I am the prime. Now, if I want to subcontract some of that work out to Crystal or Melissa and their separate businesses, they're a subcontractor to me. Does everybody understand that? If you have the direct contract, you're the prime contractor, regardless of how big or small you are. You're the ones with the contract and obligated to the government to deliver. Your subcontractors are obligated to deliver to you, right? Set aside programs. A lot of these programs are put into place to help level the playing field for people based on your ethnicity and your gender and your disabilities. Most of these registrations want you in business for a while with a proven track record, especially the 8A program. That's the #1 disadvantaged business program with the SBA. And the 8A program, the SBA works with you directly, shepherds you through literally almost trying to put contracts in your pocket, in your hand for the most part. But it's still up to you to do that work. But it's a great program to get involved in. And I work directly with the SBA offices here in Connecticut to be able to work you through that. Hub zone certification, historically underutilized business zone. If your business is located in a hub zone, and there's a hub zone map, and it's based on your address and your zip code, you can qualify for that certification. And there are opportunities set aside just for businesses in a hub zone. And what's the advantage is a lot of businesses need to find 8A businesses and hub zone businesses to subcontract to. They're obligated to do that. So if you have a home-based business or a brick and mortar business, and you're in a hub zone, we can help you understand if your address is in one, and you go after that certification, then you're setting yourself up to a little bit more inviting for businesses to want to do business with you and set aside work. And we'll talk about what set aside means. That means it's set aside specifically for these certification of businesses. Women-owned small business and economically disadvantaged small business. I highly advise all women businesses who are qualified to get this certification to SBA. And it's based on your business income, your assets, and your industry codes. So if you're a woman who owns a general contracting company your industry codes might qualify for you to be a woman-owned small or economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. Now, if you're a home health care agency, you might not have that industry code that qualifies you for a woman-owned small business. So what they do is they pick the industry codes. They say that women are underrepresented in, and they put you in that category to go after that, right? And then you're eligible for that. The hottest set-asides out now are women-owned businesses for the federal government to contract to, and a lot of your commercial contractors and veteran businesses. So I highly advise any of you that can take advantage of the woman-owned small business certification to seek that. You can contact me, or you can go through Don, and I can give you more information on how to do that. And if you're a veteran, we work. Yes, Crystal.
I had a question about the women-owned business, receiving money for being a woman-owned business.
Or receiving a contract, winning a contract.
Do you have to already have a certain amount of money generated by your business to be applicable for these things? Or is it going to be like, if you have... Okay.
Not for the women-owned. The 8A, they want you at least in business for a couple of years with a proven, of doing business. But for the woman-owned, you have to be minimum 51% owner of that company. They want you to run the day-to-day operations. And your NAICS code has to fall within the women-owned or economically disadvantaged women-owned status. So when you submit, you want to upload like your articles of incorporation, your resume, maybe some general tax information, things of that nature. And then they review it, and then usually in a few months, you'll know if you're awarded a certification or not.
Thank you.
So we can go down a little bit more. And not only do you need to register with the Federal Space System Awards Management, it's also where you find the opportunities that are out there, the bids or the contracts that are out there that fits under your business. And again, here's some of the things that you're going to need to register in System Awards Management. Now, this is for federal contracting. But I want to say again, there are a lot of state and municipals who got federal money that require you to be in SAM.gov. For instance, the city of Milford, Connecticut might manage the housing authority units, but the housing authority technically falls under HUD, which is a federal agency. So if you want to go in as a contractor and do some work on a housing unit, they want you in System Awards Management, right? So to get an idea of where I'm going with that. So just want to make sure. It's never going to hurt you to be registered in this, especially where everything is going with all the federal money coming down. Next. And this is a website you can actually find your industry codes. You can actually type in there construction or healthcare or whatever and it'll show you the various industry codes, and you can pick which one best suits your business products and services. And at PTAC, we help you find those items. A lot of people will say, hey, here are my industry codes. And then after I review their products and services, I sort of let them know that technically this one isn't your code, the other one is. So if you're familiar with like a machine shop, I have some of those guys might say that they are aerospace manufacturers. No, you're a machine shop who does milling and drilling. Sikorsky Aircraft and Pratt Whitney are aerospace manufacturers, right? So you want to make sure you're representing yourself appropriately when you are putting these codes in there, you're finding them. Next. And this is a dynamic small business search that I mentioned. So if you are registered in System Awards Management, if you're classified as small, you'll be located in this database. And again, this is a central database that a lot of your larger businesses and government contracting offices go to look for businesses in their database to see who they can reach out to. Now, you got to ask yourself, Frank, how do I know I'm small? Does anybody here know what the federal government or the state of Connecticut considers small business?
0 to 500.
0 to 500 what?
People or employees or 500 people.
That's a quarter accurate. Anybody else? So recently in the state of Connecticut, if you were $20 million in revenue or below, they considered you a small business. As of October 1st, 2021, they changed what a small business guideline was in the state of Connecticut to mirror the federal government guideline. So the federal government guideline determines a small business based on your revenue, employee size, and your NAICS code. Remember that previous screen? Your NAICS code, where a construction firm or a manufacturer might be judged on number of employees. A consultant company, a professional service company might be judged on revenue. So it determines on your industry and your revenue and the number of employees, right? Because the 0 to 500 employees might just apply to construction or wholesalers or logistics companies or manufacturers, where that's not going to apply to someone who owns a mental health company or a professional service company or HR company. There's only based on their revenue. But you can go to the SBA size standards and it'll show you your NAICS code industry and how it determines whether you're small or not.
So Frank, then that's why getting your NAICS codes correct is so important.
So important, exactly. Right. All right, some of your set aside opportunities that are out there. Woman-owned small, economically disadvantaged woman-owned small. The economically disadvantaged woman-owned small is a subset of woman-owned small. That's more of your $750,000 revenue and below, right? Because some women-owned businesses are considerable. They might be in a couple of million, still be considered small, but the economically disadvantaged is at a certain, around 750,000, 800,000 and below. Now, you can go after a woman with an economically disadvantaged small certification can go after a federal contract that a WOSB can go over, but a WOSB cannot go after an economically disadvantaged woman-owned small contract. And then you have your veteran-owned small and your service-disabled veteran-owned small, 8A hub zone. We talk about the particulars of all those things. And then I put some sites in here, some links where to go to register for those particular ones. Because the link to 8A and hub zone is the beta certified is different than the certified SBA where your woman-owned and economically disadvantaged woman-owned are. And even your veteran is moving from under the VA under SBA here soon. Now, this category to the bottom, this is important because the federal government says that they want all agencies to minimum have, if you got 100 contracts going out, 5% need to go to women, or 5% need to go to disadvantaged businesses or certain state veteran hub zone. And they try to hold them accountable to that. Now, what the agencies do, they'll say, Frank Dixon Enterprise, if I'm giving you $50, $60 million, $20 million, you better bring me a subcontracting plan to where you got some small businesses a part of that. And out of that, we want to see some veteran and hub zone and women. That's why it's important for you to get these certifications if you qualify. Because not only is it about you going after contracts, it's about people needing you on their contract on the federal government space. All right, next.
Excuse me, Frank.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a gallery that I'm in the process of renovating, and I applied for a grant to have the gallery, to get money to have the gallery renovated. I got to page to through a grant from the state. And because I had to go through so many steps and they wanted so many things, so many items that I didn't have, it was my first time applying for a government grant. The process was so daunting to me. I felt like this was something for, like, you needed a professional to do this. And they required so many ins and outs. So it's nice to hear you say you need help or you need support, or there's actually other websites that you can go to. Now, they did have links to other sites that you can go to get the done numbers and the certifications, but a lot of the information that they required took some time to get back. So like your small business or your minority women business, it took anywhere from 10 to 12 days or 2 weeks to get that information back. So there is some time constraints if you are applying to these grants and there's a deadline. Sometimes getting that information back might be take longer than the actual deadline for the grant that you're applying to. So you might want to start getting those numbers and those certifications before you apply for these grants. I just wanted to put that out there as an experience that I had.
Thank you for that, Kim. So although at PTAC, we are not in the grant world, we're in the contracts world, but I get what you're saying. And I can also relate that the Department of Defense created PTACs to help businesses because of that, to understand the language, to understand the registrations, to make the process a little bit easier. Unfortunately, I don't know our equal on the grant side. And you're talking about the state of Connecticut, which is a different animal in itself when it comes to going after certain grants, especially with DCD and things of that nature. But the commonality of what you're saying, what I'm saying is there is some due diligence that's got to be put into this. Understand what you need up front before you start going down a road. And then you're finding yourself at an impasse or challenge or halt because you didn't do B and now you're at E, or you're trying to skip. There is a process, and we help businesses understand. Let's make sure we're registered first before we start talking about going after this contract, or you're mad at a contracting person, right? And you got to have some patience with this because this is government, grants or contracts, and it is not going to happen overnight.
Right.
It's not going to happen overnight. You got to understand that. And this, it's not the government that denies your grants or your bid proposal. It's the people in the government, right? So you have to make sure that you socialize with them properly and professionally in a way, give them what they ask for, don't give them what they don't ask for. Make sure, a lot of your I's are dotted, your T's across. Someone with a certain professional aptitude is reviewing information for you when you're submitting it. One of the biggest killers of people going after this work is listening to they. I've never found out who they are, but a lot of people listen to they. Reach out to your PTAC, go to your government aids, your SBDCs, your scores, or your KNOWNpreneurs. I think you guys might have liaisons to help you get in contact with certain people in this space. But find someone who actually, do this for a living and to help you make smart, efficient decisions.
Yeah.
I think it's Opal's store office. What's that?
Sandra.
Sandra.
I'm sorry but could you just back up the last slide you have? I missed something on it that I was writing down. Okay.
Sandra, we'll make the slides.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I got it. Thank you. That's it. I got it.
And Don, you can share these slides with your people.
Okay. Thank you.
And what I like to do is put the links in there. So the links are are good when you want to just click on them and go to the sites. So these set aside opportunities are around 23%. They want agencies to have, to do 23% of their work, and contractors to offload 23% of their work to small businesses of certain certifications. And if you look to the right there, it'll show you some of the symbols and emblems and logos of certain certifications as well. Next. And this is just sam.gov, where we teach our clients how to find government opportunities. You can search by keywords, industry codes. You can search by places of performance. So if I want to find home health care, state of Connecticut, blah, 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 you can filter by that. Or you can also say who's winning, who's awarded these contracts. You can filter by that. And then that's when you want to use your capability statement to forward it to them, to start up a conversation. Hey, I'm so-and-so, this is what I do. Look for any partnership opportunities, and we assist our businesses understand how to make those elevator pitch. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the capability statement. Next. I usually have this cybersecurity model slide in here because usually my audience are businesses that are in this space, ready to go into this space. But it's so important now that when you're doing business in public sector, they want a certain level of security on your systems or your facilities. This is more catered to around federal government contracting. If you get a federal government contract, specifically with the Department of Defense. So I'm not going to talk about this as much, Don, just going to move forward. And just to certain levels that you got to have and get certified for. State of Connecticut. So for all of you that went through the Department of Administrative Services and register your business, there are other aspects to be able to find opportunities. And a lot of times you'll look at BizNet, which has been around for a while, but the new site that they created is CT Source, where it houses, where they're going to eventually migrate everything under CT Source. It houses and it offers a quicker, easier way to get any certifications, look for opportunities, things of that nature. And that link is live. And also, when you're looking at your supplier diversity certification, there are two in the state of Connecticut. Your small minority business enterprise certification and your Department of Transportation disadvantaged business enterprise certification. Now, to be eligible for your small minority business enterprise certification, why is this important? Because the state, like the federal government, with your 8A hubs on women, they set aside opportunities for small businesses and minority business enterprises exclusively. Now, the qualifications for a small business, it's usually, well, now it's if you meet the SBA size standard, right? Before it was just 20 million and below. Now, when you get on the minority business enterprise certification, that goes into ethnicity and gender. Literally everything other than a Caucasian male qualifies for the minority business enterprise. And I've had Caucasian women businesses who didn't even know that they were eligible for the minority business enterprise. Connecticut is one of the only businesses that still consider Caucasian women a minority. So they have the opportunity to go after the minority business enterprise certification, just like everybody else. I strongly, highly advise everyone to go in to your diversity supplier portal in BAS and apply for your SMBE certification, because they're slowly setting aside a lot of state work, and some of the municipalities want you to have that certification as well. Here's the kicker. The state of Connecticut just made it mandatory for you to get this certification, for you to have what now? SAM.gov registration. SAM.gov registration. So they want you registered in the federal database so they can determine your small business standards to be able to go after your SMBE. And that started in October last year. So of course, now my office is being flooded by businesses because the state don't know how to put people in SAM.gov. So PTACs are helping the state of Connecticut with that. And we offer an online video that I had one of my staff create that walks you through the beginning to the end of how to register in SAM.gov in our library. And I'm putting out a Spanish version as well.
Frank, can you get registered in multiple states as well, or?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can. You see that to the right there, it says NASPO. NASPO is the National Association of Procurement Officials. You go to that site and it will take you to all 50 states, and it'll break down how to do business in every state. The registration requirements, opportunities, things of that nature. And you can get certain certifications in other states as well based on your ethnicity, gender, veteran status, things, and be able to go after those opportunities. Some states are a little bit more stringent than others because they actually want your business located in Connecticut, or headquartered in Connecticut. In some states, you can get multiple certifications in other states. You have to read the restrictions. Right. And here, this is CT Source, the latest version of how to go. You can go to the search bar there. If you look at the bottom left there beside the bid board, throw in your keyword, and you can search by municipalities, awards, open solicitations. So if you throw your one of your service or products in there, it'll go in and search. And then if you go to the left, you can filter. Say if you want to just say, show me things in Hartford, Stamford, Norwalk, and you can see the opportunities that are coming with the state, on the state side. Your supplier diversity portal. And you can look at the links that will take you to your SBA size standards, and you have to be in SAM.gov now to get your state of Connecticut small minority business enterprise certification. This is just going through how to register for your diversity, SMBE, and your DOT. I made it very easy for your people, Don, with the links, things of that nature. So we're coming to the end of the first portion. And the takeaways from this is the federal, state, and local municipalities and some of your bigger prime contractors are obligated to outsource and subcontract opportunities to small businesses. But they like the small businesses that are certified, that are registered, that understand some of the various languages when you're having conversations with the people. There are no shortcuts in this. We got to make sure we understand that. There are no shortcuts when it comes to doing public sector contracting. I highly advise if your ethnicity or your gender or your revenue qualifies you in any way to go after any of these certifications, please do that on the federal, state, and local levels. It's only to your advantage. All right. Any questions? I know I covered a lot. I tried to, not include everything because it can be a bit overwhelming. But what we do is we make sure that we put a layman's leg on the government talk. You can go to a government website and it'll give you 25 pages of links, verbiage that you don't understand, and things of that nature. And we're in place to help people maneuver and understand through what all those things are. All right. Any questions?
Frank, I have a question. So the point of beginning where everything starts is in SAM.gov, basically, right? That's where you start.
For the federal, yes.
Right.
Federal level. But increasingly, the states and some of the municipalities want people registered in SAM.gov.
Right. And through your agency, is there particular point person that could help in the process of getting this done?
Right. So our process is you go to our website and fill out an application. And my database administrator and training manager usually evaluates your application. They usually go into Concord, state of Connecticut, see if you're registered or where you're located in the state. And then we'll check you out in Duns, see if you're in Duns. And then we'll look at the length of time you've been in business. And then she'll make a preliminary decision. And based on where you're located in the state, she'll assign you to one of my offices. I have 6 around the state and 6 people who manage about 150 clients apiece. I myself have about 130, but they're usually the larger, more detailed clients, like your aerospace firms and contractors who've been doing it for a while, who want a more in-depth approach on doing public sector work.
Got it.
So just to let's back up. We normally want you in business for a while producing, but if you're bringing certain certifications and years of experience in a certain industry, and now you're in that industry, we take a little different look and say, okay, we might can work with you to move forward. Because I've had businesses who've come in, been in business for 4 years and never sold a nail or an ink pen or anything. And I said, well, realistically, you want to go out to a government contract, they're going to ask you, what have you ever sold? Who you ever sold it to, right? What's your past performance history? So it's not realistic, to look at that space. But on the state of Connecticut side, you can still get their certifications without a lot of past performance history. But we'll evaluate so if you call my office, you send an email, we won't just say, hey, get lost, right? That's not what we do. We'll evaluate it. We might say, hey, here's some things you need in sam.gov. This is what you want to do. I'll put you in front of the small business development centers, refer you to SCORE to give you a little bit more grassroots level business development experience or financing. And then, you might come back to us, once you, get your track record a little bit more established. So. Any other questions? Registration certifications, especially to this population, I am telling you.
This is Sandra. I have a question. In regards to non-medical home care, if you're going after otherwise from the VA, which I have a conflict of interest with the VA, so I cannot apply, but in a normally you can go as a minority business, but in home care agencies, it's basically who you know to get services. How does that apply to us? Because in the VA system, usually that you could get this service there, but now they contract it out. So now we become subcontractors. The subcontractors are now saying they're not taking any more business. So it shut out, not for me because it's a conflict, but it shuts out a lot of the minority business because they use the larger companies in non-medical service. The only reason I know this because I have an intricate part in that because that's what I did for a living. So I'm not sure how can it benefit any of us in the non-medical sector.
So let's look at it from this standpoint. For every story I hear about this particular place only does this, or this particular place shuts everybody out, I got 3 or 4 where they've won a contract, or they've been in, or they've gotten in, right? So I think it is a lot of and I say it again, it's not the VA who's not awarding you the contract, it's a person at the VA who didn't award you the contract. So we help people understand how to do the contracting, how to find it, how to maneuver through the various agencies. Maybe there's a program manager or there's a contracting office that you can socialize and get in contact with that might be able to circumvent it. We also teach our clients how to protest certain opportunities, right? So please don't get into the mindset that this is a waste of time because of someone else's personal experience, because it's not, right? That's with any business. That's with anything. Then why are you in business? Why are you trying to do business with the government or the agency or a Walmart or Target or anybody, right? Stay focused on what you need to do your due diligence, seek out the people who understand it. I had a company where the VA now is literally looking for veteran businesses. They've switched everything up. They want veteran businesses to do everything with the VA for the most part. And if they can't find them, they'll go on every rock and every concrete slab to try to find a veteran business. If they can't find them, then they'll go after other businesses. Before, it didn't used to be that way. And then the veterans associations were upset. They were saying, you used to be prioritizing veteran-owned business, do business with the VA. And then they pull that traction. I say this, go find a veteran business. You can go into Dynamic Small Business Search, find you a veteran business, introduce yourself with your capability statement, tell them what services you offer, partner with them to try to go after those contracts. There are various ways to do this, but it's about understanding the landscape. And don't let individual stories dissuade you from doing what you want to go do with your business and certifications. Yes, ma'am, Crystal.
So when you said that, I wonder, you talked about connecting with businesses that are already partnering with like the company that you want to work with. Where do you is there like a list that we can find like based on our, like what we're interested in? So I'm in hair and then I also have like wellness. So is there like a list of people who are already working with, I don't know if I'm being clear.
You are, and it's yes and no. So you remember that dynamic small business search thing that I talked about? So you can go in there and search by your state, by the NAICS code or a keyword, and it'll pull up every business that do what you do, that are registered with the federal government. You can also go in, we have, there's databases that you can go in and just throw in your industry or throw in your NAICS code, and it'll pull up who's winning the contracts, right? That's who you want. You want to find out who's winning and reach out to those guys, not necessarily everybody out there doing what you're doing. Because if I got 3 companies and Dixon Enterprises is winning, that's what I want my capability statement to go to, because they got an in. And I ask people this question all the time. Somebody asked me this question, I got a prize, right? I haven't told you what the prize is. If you get this right, who does the government like to do business with? Federal, state, or local? Or big companies? Who do they like to do business with? Number one business.
Local.
Nope. Who else? Somebody throw it out there. Who do these people like to do business with?
Federal and state.
Corporations.
Nope.
Nope.
People they've done business with before.
Oh.
That's why knowing who's been awarded contracts is so important, because a lot of times they keep getting them once they get one. Because the contracting officers at any level, or procurement people at any level, know what they're getting. They know their delivery. They know the people. And they tend to keep getting those contracts back to them. So that's why it's important. It might seem like, oh, they're just giving it to this one company. Guess what? They've not given them a reason not to give it back to them. So that's why you want to know who's winning. And there are various ways to search and find out who's winning contracts. They're open source free databases, and I can forward those to you and just walk you through that. And because I am blessed to be friends with Ms. Johnson, I can talk to you guys individually if you want, and just say, hey, Crystal, if you want to call me and we do a Zoom, and I can say, hey, this is how you find out. This is who you find out who's doing what you're doing. All right. Okay.
So I will say they used to have bidders conferences where the people that were interested in the work would come to hear. And so I don't know if they're virtual now, but when I was doing business development, they would come. And so you just work the room and make sure that the folks there know who you are, because there'll come a time where they need that small business, might be for that bid, but might be for something else. So as you're looking at the bids, also look at who's bidding on the work, or who, like Frank said, who won the work, because their name is prime, but the subs are not listed. So you don't know what part of that work they're giving away. So.
And a lot of these major contracts, they're obligated to subcontract. And they do have your industry has certain industry days, places you have to go, and they're opening it back up now to more in person, right? I got clients who are in parts and selling to certain gadgets and widgets. And I tell them, go out to Columbus, Ohio. They do a 3-day overview on how to do business with the Defense Logistics Agency. They got the contractor's office in the room. They got the engineers in the room. They got everybody in the room who's going to make a decision. So, Chris, when your company's capabilities or response come across their desk, oh, I met her. I know who that is, as opposed to someone else's. You have to put yourself in the space and understand where these people are going, right? Because if you're just sitting back waiting for bids to come to you, or you looking for whatever, and you never actively go outside of your comfort zone, then it takes a lot longer to do that. It's about massaging, understanding your industry. So, all right. Now that we talked about all the registration, certifications, things of that nature, we're going to talk about how to reach out to these people, how to put together a capability statement to be able to do that. So you can have, a lot of companies have a capability statement, and they'll come to PTAC, and I say, oh, that's fine. And they have all the gadgets and widgets and everything on it, the logos, golf, people doing everything. When you're in the public space, they don't want to see any of that. They want to know a few things: who you are, what you do, how you do it, what certifies you to do it, who have you done it with, and what makes you different. Make it measurable percentage, right? They don't care about the sugarcoating. And a lot of these big companies don't want to see your capability statement with a whole bunch of things that you think you need to have on it. I think when I talk to people about their resumes, this resume doesn't belong to you. This capability statement doesn't belong to you. You're the custodian. You keep it up. But that thing belongs to whoever you're sending it to, right? Whoever you're trying to go give it to. You always got to remember that. Not about what you want up there. It's about how to make it relevant. And I like to start on my capability statement presentation with just a template of one of our templates that we refer to our clients to use. And we'll have them put together information, then I'll get it and I'll help them tweak it and things of that nature, and then help them understand how to solicit it, who to find, who to give it to. Like Ms. Harris, I was talking to Reese, who do we send this to? Who do we give this to? Who do we enter this up to? Because they like seeing a clean, measured capability statement, right? We want to talk about the contents of putting that together. Right. Next slide. So why even have a capability statement? It is a door opener, right? Some requirements by government contracts, they want to see it in a proposal. Some don't. They don't ask for it, don't put it in there, right? Don't put that in there. Don't put the resume in there if they didn't ask for it. Don't put the flyer from your family reunion in 2012. Don't put those things in there. They didn't ask for it, right? A lot of people do that. The contractor person, the procurement person wanted 10 documents, you gave them 15. Well, they need to know this. No, they don't. They didn't ask for it. And make sure you remember that. And that's what happens to a lot of people when it comes to putting their capability statement together. They put a lot of things on it that you don't really need to know. Say if you got 3 or 4 different products, you might want your general capability statement and just adjust the products on your capability statement, like your past performance history or things of that nature that might aim toward that product and who you're sending it to, right? And who you're sending it to, right? You know, proof of qualifications, you know, it sets you apart from your competitors, and it shows some brief past performance history. Next. All right, and we have different types of capability statements, right? You have your door opener, you know, introductory, right? You use to get your decision maker to get you a meeting. And it's just a tool to use and walk through doing your meetings with them. Sometimes it's required in an RFP or RFI or sources sought or a solicitation or a synopsis, right? All those terms. You're like, Frank, what is all that? I don't know what all that is. So we help people understand the difference between an RFP and a solicitation or RFI or things of that nature. Your request for a proposal. That means they want something from you. Tell me how you can do this. RFQ, RFI, we want to know if we had this out there, how would you do it and how would you price it? And I tell people all the time, there's nothing wrong with responding to a request for a quote or request for information, because if they put the solicitation back out, they usually remember who helped them when they started trying to craft it in the first place. So there are a lot of different ways and a lot of different types we use our capability statement for. Next. Right, your capability statement is a means of introducing your company and will vary over time, right? The level of information of your audience. Sometimes you want to use them in trade shows, bids or solicitation response. When you change any changes in your company, you're going to make sure these things are updated when you are keeping your capability statement. It's a fluid document. Next. These are just some of the various places you want to take your capability statement. I tell our clients all the time when we're doing these big industry days where you have UConn sitting there and Turner sitting there and ESPN sitting there, and they want to see that. And I tell people, our clients, don't go up with your flyers. Don't go up with your table banner. Give them the capability statement. That's what they want to see. Clean, simple, easy to read. I know you're proud of your flyers. I know you're proud of your banners. Those people don't want those things. They don't. If they ask for it, then give it to them. But don't give them that. Right? So we're going to get into some of the different aspects when we get into our capability statement, right? Introduce your company. Identify your government points of contact. It's designed to communicate what best defines your company. And we're going to show that you know how to talk in the language of the industry, government, things of that nature based on what you have in here. And we're going to define your core competencies and illustrate your past performance. All right, next. Right. So when we start creating this, we want to call it a capability statement. You literally want to call it that so people understand that's what this is. Bullet points are key. Bullet points are key. I've had to go into some capability statements and I didn't know if I was reading a capability statement or a college dissertation. I went to sleep, took a break, everything, right? We want to make sure this thing is bulleted. We want to make sure it's short sentences, no long narratives, simple, direct language. Don't use a lot of jargon that nobody understands, right? You want to be specific to that. And then you want to have like your logo at the end. I got a couple examples at the end of this, and after we go through this, it'll make sense. Next. Right. If you have a capability statement, we want it on one page. You're like, oh, Frank, I can't put it on one page. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. right? Walmart can put theirs on one page. Everybody on this call here can put it on one page, right? And if you got to use two, use the back. Don't have two pieces of paper. Use the back, right? A lot of times we advise our clients to put their capability statement on their website. Make a downloadable PDF that someone can go on your website and download it. A lot of agencies go to your website. They go to your website and they research your company. So please understand that. And we advise our clients to have a government tab. Put your capability statement on it. You can have home, services, who we are, government. And people like to go there, they can download your capability. And any other businesses looking for you, they can download your capability statement, right? Just some side notes. And I know you heard this before. Some of you are starting out, some of you have been in business for a while. There's nothing that tells a government agency or prime company that you're still new, like a business email that still has AOL, Yahoo, Gmail, things like that. If you want to play business with if you want to do business with the big boys, look like one. Get you a business email address. Get your business email address. I get it. AOL, Yahoo, they were free. I get it. But you can spend $5 a month on a business email address. They'll give you one. Right? Google will give you one in a minute for a few dollars. Right? And I'm just being very honest with you. Next. All right. So we're going to go down some of the key components of our capability statement. Your company overview. Show your core services and products, your past performance, your differentiators. Someone tell me what a differentiator is. What's a differentiator? Who here can give me a differentiator about your business? All of you should be able to do that, but just tell me.
I guess I can. I think what differentiates me and my business from other people, if I'm talking about my home care business, is that I'm a registered nurse. And so I'm able to do a lot of the assessments and people feel more comfortable with me, as well as my connections to the community have allowed me to get different types of contracts. So the faith in the community has allowed me to get some pretty innovative contracts as well. But I think it's because I'm a nurse.
Bolden hit it on the head. Bingo. What differentiates her from another home health care, she is a registered nurse. Bingo. Thank you, ma'am, for that. Right? Because of her industry. Maybe it wouldn't be a differentiator if she was just a nurse in nurses industry. But in home health care and she's RN, that's a differentiator. Because I know I'd rather have a registered nurse come into my house with a parent or whoever to take care of, right? That's a great differentiator when it comes to your business. All right, we're gonna put contact information and link to your website. Okay, all right, next. When we start with our company overview, we wanna make it a short introductory statement, right? Relating to your company's core competencies, agency-specific needs, who you're doing business with, your geographic footprint. What's your geographic footprint of business? Anybody help me out? What's your business's geographic footprint?
Whether it's like local, regional, or national, where you do business?
Yes, ma'am. Where you do business. Exactly. Thank you for that, Ms. Pearson. Yep. Exactly. Your geographic footprint, where you do business. All right, next. So just a quick overview of the differences, right? When we're doing a company overview, in the blue, it's simple, to the point, whatever, right? Founded in 2001, ABC and Associates is a leading provider training and management consulting services. Our experienced staff work with Fortune 500 companies and higher education institutions to develop subject matter curriculums based upon the needs of customers throughout the United States and international, right? Boom. Who we are, blah, 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 whatever. And you might even throw in there, located in a town if you want, where you're located, if you want to do that. Right? And then the other one is it's just a bit long. It's drawn out, right? A lot of reading. Don't put everything in the company overview because you still got other sections you can locate things. You don't need in the company overview to start off with, I'm a woman-owned, minority, veteran, 8A, hubs, and then I'm reading for 20 minutes and I don't know what you actually do. Right? Are you selling your certifications, your ethnicity? Are you selling home health care or gadgets or widgets? What are you selling? Tell me what you're doing first, where you do it, how you do it. Then you can throw in, especially on the capability statement, you're going to list those things anyway in the company data section. You don't need to have it all in the company overview on the capability statement, and then you got it in the company data side. I know you're proud of those things, and that's fine, but I'll see it later. What do you do, where you do it, who you do it with? Boom, company overview. All right, next. And you want to list your core competencies, right? List those things, bullet them. Curriculum design, training development, training evaluation. Now, you already told me in your company overview, you know, who you do it with, the general service that you provide, where you do it. Now you're saying, okay, here are some of the core competencies, of course, services that we offer, right? Next. And we get in our past performance history. We like to list at least about 3 on your capability statement. Who you did business with, what did you do for them? When did you do it? Dollar amount, if applicable, and point of contact. Remember, this is government-friendly capability statement. There are no secrets. Now, if you have NDAs or non-disclosure agreements that keep you from listing, you know, dollar amounts, whatever, but the dollar amounts also tell people your capacity and capability, if you want to put it in there. And when we get to the examples, you'll see what I'm talking about. Right. Past one. Now, if Miss Smith Bolton got a contract with Pearson Industries, Pearson Industries got the contract with the VA. Ms. Smith Bolton got the contract with Ms. Pearson. On her capability statement, it will be listed as who she did the business with was Pearson Industries. But then you can put in quotes, CT Veterans Administration. Don't put that you did, just because you were doing work for the Veterans Administrations, you actually had a contract with Pearson Industries. So you put Pearson Industries, then in quotes, you can put CT Veterans Administration. That says, that's big. That tells me, somebody looking at it, that you are familiar in that space. But you didn't have the direct contract with the VA, right? And we'll look at an example of that a little bit later. Next. Right. Just an example, when we're writing our past performance history. Next. Next slide. Right. So we want to make sure our differentiators, right? How does your company best suit the needs of the agency? One differentiator section. So when you're getting your differentiators, let me give you an example. I had an agency in Stanford, and she had a differentiator bullet that I edited. She said staff experienced in, because she had staff experience, she had all staff with MBAs. And I expanded on it. I said staff with Masters of Business Administration, finance, marketing, international business, government contracting, things of that nature, right? Let me know. She also had a bullet, major 100, top 500 businesses. And I went back and I said, clients include top 100 corporations, but I also put in there Kellogg, Verizon, right? You list those companies. You want to put in there any awards, small business person of the year, company of the year, quality rating, 98% quality rating from clients, things of that nature, right? What sets you aside? Registered nurse, you know, if your engineering team has certain certifications and qualifications, or if you're the only people on the Eastern Seaboard with certain equipment, you know, 5-axis machine, audio visual, X1226, I don't know, right? And you know that's a differentiator, no one else might have it. Those are the kind of things that you want to see, but make them inviting to the person you're sending the capability statement to. So if you had a trade show, you meet with 5 different companies, you might want to have 5 different capability statements. It's all the same, but your differentiators might be a little bit different depending on who you're going to give that to, right? Because Verizon or Department of Energy might want to see a few other different things than Walmart and Department of the Army.
So Frank, if a lot of knownpreneurs right now are just a single person and maybe use contracted staff, how can they reference the qualifications of like their 1099 folks? Like, how can you do that?
The same way. Because at the end of the day, you have access to those people. The same way, if they're all contracting, they all got the same credentials, you put in their staff. I don't need to know if they're contracted or not with you, right? No one needs to know that. You have access to them, you use them. This is what you have. Here are the skills, education, and qualifications you have access to, right? Okay. Also, in your differentiators, you know, you can put, you don't want to necessarily have to include all of your set aside or government certifications, like your women-owned, 8A, veteran, that'll be done in your company data section. This is more for something, and it tells a story. The capability statement. Remember what I said? Who am I? What do I do? Where do I do it? How do I do it? What certifies me to do it? And who have I done it with? Right. So make sure we're telling that story. Right. Your differentiators or not, your socioeconomic certifications, generic statements. 30 years in business. Okay. That's fine. Everybody got it. And a lot of people will have 10 people with 10 years experience each, and they say 30 years experience. It doesn't really do anything for me, right? As definitely say 30 years experience, 96% customer retention rate, or 30 years experience engineering team with X, Y, and Z technical engineering specifications and certifications, right? Think, you know, something of that nature. Solutions driven, passionate, right? Warm-hearted. I've seen it all. And I go through them like a 5th grade English teacher. Red marking it. All those things are fine. This capability statement is literally about the meat and potatoes, right? And your company data is going to include certain things, right? Sometimes you can put your address at the top, or you can put it at the bottom, or you can put it on the side in your company data section. Next. We're just going to get to some of the, all right, go next. Right. And then we get our company data. You want your cage code. Who here remembers what the cage code is? I mentioned it. Your cage code is what you get when you register in SAM.gov. That's your government. That's your number to do business in the federal space. Right. Yeah, Ms. Smith Bowden said SAM code. Right. When you register in sam.gov successfully, you will be awarded a CAGE code. And that's the number you use to do business with the federal government. You can put your DUNS number, saying that you're SAM active, sam.gov active, right? Accept credit cards, things of that nature. Any certifications, SMB, WSB, SDBOSB, 8A, HubZone, Mentor Protege, the whole nine, right? All right, next. Right. And we're going to list some of our NAICS codes. If you have 25 different products and services, please do not put all those on your capability statement. Put about your top three or four, maybe. I've seen capability statements with more NAICS codes than anything else. And I'm like, and just don't put the NAICS code, put beside it what, you want to put beside what it is. There are not too many people walk around and just memorize what a NAICS code is, right? So, and you also have a product service code or a federal supply code. That's what the federal government uses. They also use the NAICS code, but a lot of times they'll still use a PSC code or FSC code to identify the products and services, right? And then any certifications that you might have. This is the company data section we're talking about. Next. And it also, lets them know that you can speak, the language, right? When you have these things up there. Your whole job with this capability state is to make them comfortable that you know what you're doing and your company is in line. And it starts with that piece of paper. It does. Plays a big part. And the reason I know because I get feedback from contracting officers, procurement officers, small business liaison officers. They like this format. Now, what a poor one will do, just like a poor interview or poor resume, it'll slam the door, right? It'll highlight your weaknesses. It says that they don't think you're capable, and it says that you're a risk to them as a supplier, right? You want to make a good impression with that. And they're saying you really don't understand it. Why are you giving me a capability statement when you're trying to sell me hats when we're a shoe company? So we want to make sure that we understand that. All righty. Tips for success, right? Keep the right attitude. It's not the government that makes purchasing decisions, it's the people in the government and the people in any industry. You want to make sure that they know who you are, what you do, your costs, your track record, right? They don't keep a bunch of negative conversations away from these conversations when you're doing that, especially in your elevator pitches, when you're sending these capability statements out. Even when you're crafting an elevator email to send your capability statement, it's simple, it's clean. It could be your company overview. Then you can throw in there a couple of your socioeconomic certifications. But ask to do business with them. Ask for a meeting. Ask for a conversation. Ask for a date that you can continue a formal conversation with them to discuss partnerships and your capabilities in more detail. Let them know that you understand what they do. If you know they have an award, say, you give them your overview and you say, I've noticed that you are currently working on contract ABCD. I'm confident I can provide additional services. I'm open to do that, things of that nature. Let them know that you've done some research on them. Please keep it to a simple paragraph, not 3 and 4 paragraphs, right? They don't have time for that. If you send me anything over a paragraph and a half, I'm usually going to read it next week or 2 paragraphs. It is what it is in today's world. All right, next. Right? You want to be, be aggressive in your marketing, but don't be overbearing. They don't need to hear from you every week. Hey, did you read my capability statement? Hey, did you read my capability statement? No, right? Be dedicated. If you want to follow up with them, give a good time and space. Maybe you want to make the email a little bit updated or newer, maybe a little bit smaller, right? Just don't be pushy and, send something like I've seen. This is the third time I've reached out to you. If you don't want to do business with me, let me know. No, come on. Let's stay away from it. You're trying to get in their door. They're not trying to get in yours, right? Stay positive with that. You have no idea what's going on the other side with that person. All right, here's an example of a capability statement of one of a client. I don't know if you can make that bigger or not. Can you guys see that? If we can just, go in on one of the sections. See, we got a company overview, right? Full service environmental consulting company founded in 2014 with 20 years providing environmental assessment, remediation, land use planning, and where? Government agencies, schools, commercial industries across New England. Right? You put in where they do business at. Core competencies. This is what we do. Groundwater monitoring, remediation, underground storage. Look to the right. What are they doing? They're calling it a capability statement. They got the logo. And they got the company data. Yep. What, about 3 NAICS codes there. Corresponding NAICS, what their services are. Don't have your core services say one thing, then your NAICS code say something else. Right? We've seen that. Let them know, okay, they're SAM active. They accept credit cards. And then any social economic. These are services able veteran-owned business. Or it could be a woman-owned, or an 8A, or a hub zone. Can we go down a little bit more? And if you have room on it, he added some additional services because it fit. Some of the differentiators, right? 18 years experience performing environmental assessment. Normally, I don't focus on the years, but it's actually saying he does it. He got the years of doing what he's doing as a licensed person here. 4 years, U.S. Air Force civil engineer, including 2 years on Air Force One. I think that's a differentiator, right? When you're working on the president's bird. Those are the kind of things that says, what does that tell me? You're definitely qualified. You probably got a security clearance. Your ethics and you're trustworthy based on that clearance, right? And any education you might have that's pertaining to your services. Now, if you are a general contractor and you say you got a degree in English and you're a teacher, that might not be relevant, right? You might want to say, I got some certifications or certain educations or whatever under that particular industry. But it shows that his formal education is related as well to, what his business does. And the past performance history. He's done business with the state of Connecticut. He provided environmental assessments, right? What he did it between 2013 and 2014. Project valued at $280,000 and a point of contact. Simple, clean, to the point, right? Simple, clean, to the point. This is what we call a government-friendly capability statement. No jargon, not a bunch of whatever. All right, we got one more. We're going to use. This is another format that we have. This client, every time I go visit her, I get my eat on with her ice cream. It's unbelievable down there in Bridgeport. Her overview, right? Award-winning, based on infused ice cream, manufacturing distribution company, right? Offer more than 7 specialized flavors, school to schools, government markets throughout the United States and international, right? And then she get into some items of her product and services. Then she comes down to her differentiators. right? She says all natural organic ingredients, right? Gluten-free, right? 7 distinct flavors, and the sizes that she can do it. Her major clients, awards that she's won. Then to the right, she's got her company data, her NAICS code, her DUNS number, her gauge code, any socioeconomic certifications. And then her past performance history. Whole Food, 2013 to present, right? Point of contact. And then she got her contact information at the bottom. So tell me that these capability statements aren't easy and clean to read and follow, right? It gives it to you. All right, so let's look at some takeaways from this. Be specific with your capability statement. It's your marketing tool. We use it in various capacities, trade shows, to introduce ourselves, to gain partnerships, and to open the doors in specific markets, hopefully in your market. We wanted to tell who you are, where you do business, what you do, what certifies you, and what differentiates you, and who you did business with, right? Make it clean, to the point, and measurable. And put your contact information on it and call it a capability statement. All righty? Any questions? Any questions? Ask me some questions. I got 2 minutes left. No questions on anything that we cover. All right, so I think Don and Juan are going to get you guys, you can have those PowerPoint slides, and if you want to, yes, Ms. West. I think you're on mute.
Well, in terms of the government, does the government, do they take artwork? Do they ask for artwork in the government?
So, yeah, of course, if you ever walked into a federal courthouse or an FBI building or Homeland Security, they got stuff on the wall. They buy everything.
Okay.
They got to buy from somebody. They don't go around painting or taking pictures.
Usually I see old white men on horses and stuff like that. So I just,
somebody bought it. Somebody had to take the picture. They bought it from somebody.
Okay, all right.
Right. We just have to research and find what that looks like and who's buying it and how they're buying it. They could be buying it under IDIQ type contracts, meaning blanket order contracts, right? Or they could be just saying, building a building, we're looking to furnish it. And they might just get it from the furniture. They might put it out in a way that whoever's furnishing the building better bring some artwork to us. They might not just say, we're looking for people to put the artwork up. They might put it on a one contract to say, we want you to bring the chairs, the tables, the carpet, and some pictures for the wall. Right?
Okay.
So you have to just be able to read through that.
Okay.
And all the agencies do.
Okay.
Regardless of, who they are and what animal they're sitting on. Somebody's up there. Right.
Okay.
The other thing, Kim, to think about, I know when I worked at CMS, we had like Black History Month festivals and celebrations in like the lower level of the building. Like there was art there. Like I don't know where it came from, but it does happen in the federal government.
Okay.
So.
And then sometimes they might just reach out to someone to say, come in and showcase your art, and they'll pay them to come showcase it. It might not stay there. Usually it doesn't. Or they might say, find someone that can provide this kind of work and put it in there. State buildings, municipal buildings, but you got to buy them somewhere. The government people don't put it in there. Even in big buildings, so many private buildings, you have to source it from somewhere. So, yeah.
Okay.
I've rarely seen anything that government agencies, municipal, state, or federal, don't buy or purchase. You know, you might still have some municipal people with their own maintenance people, right? They'll do the lawn and do whatever. Some things they still might outsource to some contractors to do, because you still have some public works who do certain things. But they might be some areas they don't do. You know, a lot of times Board of Ed might outsource a lot of that stuff. But I do want you guys to remember this. There's a lot of money coming down from this infrastructure, and it's coming all the way down to the municipal and the boards and the states. And just don't be the ones who are not registered and ready when the opportunity is there. Present yourself. If I had to count how many times people come to me in the last minute, Frank, I need to get in SAM.gov. Can I talk to you today? I'm sorry, no, you can't. I can't get you in today. Oh, this opportunity expires in, you know. It's different if you're already registered, you're saying something expired. But now you want to try to jump into SAM, which is going to take you at least 3 to 4 days minimum after you send the information for them to approve your gauge code. So it doesn't really work that way. Yeah, right. This isn't the space to procrastinate in. I'll put it that way.
So Frank, in that one section of the capability statement, you have to get those certifications in order to list that you're a woman-owned small business before you can list them. Is that correct?
Don, that's a great question. The thing is, when you go into SAM.gov, it will let you literally pick woman-owned business. And when you click it, it'll say woman-owned small business. And when you click that, it'll say economically disadvantaged small business. And I have a lot of clients that come to me and says, oh, Frank, I'm already in SAM.gov. I'm ahead of this curve. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me go back and review this, what you got. I said, oh, so you're a certified woman-owned small business with the SBA. No, not yet, but that's what you have in SAM.gov. Well, I'm a woman and I'm small and I'm economically disadvantaged. You probably are, but there's a certification for that to be able to, or you're misrepresenting yourself when you check all those things. They let you check them in SAM, but you got to go to the SBA to actually upload the documents, answer some questions, make sure your NAICS code's appropriate, and then in a month or so, take a little bit longer, then they'll certify you as a woman-owned small business. Right now, you're just a woman who owns a small business.
And that's what I was, and that's what I was saying about the deadlines and filling out that application, was that it takes time to get those things. Those things don't come right away. And so with that, knowing that, you just can't go in and expect that you're going to get, you know, that minority owned certification in a day or a week. It can take 2 weeks, it can take 3 weeks to get that information. And with COVID being the issue right now, it can take even longer. So don't, you know, if you see something that has a deadline on it, get started now, you know, because you may not know that you're going to need it, you know.
Right. So, and that's why I say, find out everything that you're eligible for and go after it and get it. Because it's not just when you want to go after something, you're making yourself attract who need you under their contracts, right? Making yourself attract to people who need you under their contracts as well, all right?
Right. Sorry, Frank?
Yep.
Yep. You mentioned that one of the things that KNOWNpreneurs should be doing is looking at who wins the contracts and, you know, who are the companies that are out there already servicing, and try to, you know, reach out to them. I wonder if there's a possibility of doing a little research on that and kind of like divide those winners into different sectors, that we could actually see some kind of report where we could see, you know, which companies could KNOWNpreneurs go to that are already winning contracts in the state of Connecticut, and say that they could, like, kind of like help them on the research side, right? So help them understand if there's someone in the wellness sector or the healthcare sector or the arts or, you know, whatever that sector comes to knownpreneurs, that, hey, there's this list of potential partnerships that you could build. At least give us some kind of segmentation into, you know, who are the potential companies.
If you send me a list of industries, I'll snatch some data and I'll forward it to you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Will do.
But it'll be federal data. But if you want to look at the state, just go into CT Source and just click on awarded. Click on what you're looking for, healthcare, home services. Click on awarded, and you'll see who's won contracts in the state. But some of what you're asking for is federal work, and Connecticut is one of the worst for receiving direct federal dollars outside of your defense contractors.
Got it. I see.
But remember that NASPO, that goes into all the states, and you can understand how to find that in all the states, how to do business with the various states.
Okay, makes sense.
Frank, I have a quick question.
Okay.
This is Sandra. Which one, you gave the SMBE, you gave the woman owned, and you gave the SAMS, that which one first do you, or should I be applying for?
So the SMBE and anything with the federal government, you cannot do any of those without being in SAM.gov.
So that would be the first one. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
You have to get a cage code.
Okay. Yes, I have the next code already, so I think. Okay.
So a follow on to that question, Frank, going back to my, woman-owned small business question.
Mhm.
Can I go back and then update my SAMS profile after I get my certifications?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
But make sure that NAICS code that you're updating it to still fits. A woman-owned small business fits under their criteria.
Okay.
Right. Because I've had someone, I'll go choose this NAICS code. I said, you're a crane operator? No, you're not. You can go, but then they'll award, but they're going to say, but you also got to upload your resume in the woman-owned small business service. They want to see your resume too. And honestly, now that it's formal, it's taken about 3 months to get your woman-owned small business certification. Because before it was a self-certification, and then the contractor office had to go in and verify that you were credible. Now you go in, you submit it, and you have a person. Like Ms. Weston said, and that's what's taking a little long. They got a person sitting there reviewing your documents now. It's taken about 3 months.
Well, thank you so much for your time and all this wonderful information. This has been extremely helpful, and I hope that everyone has a takeaway. I will share these presentations. Frank's information is in the documents. We'll make sure that you get them all. And thank you again for your time this morning and all this wonderful information.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank
and
you,
again,
Frank.
if you send me an email, that's going to go to my staff person. Just say, I met Frank at blah, 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 blah. Because she gets a lot of emails of people wanting to set up a meeting with me, and she sort of filters that. But if you have specific questions, I'm at fdixon@sector.org, and I'll throw it in the chat. Please remind me which venue that we talked. We have a lot of people that.
Thank you, Frank.
All righty.
Thank you. And everyone, if you don't mind, when you close out the Zoom to fill out the survey, that would be extremely helpful. And we will see you all next Tuesday. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Was that?
One, can you please call me after this, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.